so this is my legacy deck. This I call DETH, and that is spelled D-E-T-H, and it stands for Depths, which you see here, and Tendrils, and Helm. So those are the three main modes to win. And so we'll just kind of go through this really quick. I've got the Helms of Obedience, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Ley Lines of the Void, because we're always going to want a Ley Line of the Void. Because when we play our Helm of Obedience with a Ley Line, we get to exile our opponent's library, and that wins us the game. Also, just as an added bonus, we have some Ill-Gotten Gains, which reads, remove Ill-Gotten Gains from the game. All players discard their hands, then each player puts up to 3 cards from his or her graveyard into his or her hand. So if we have Ley Line of the Void in play when we cast Ill-Gotten Gains, we actually exile our opponent's hand, and then we get back our best 3 cards where they have exiled their hand and get nothing back. Then of course we have Karn, the Great Creator. So if we play Karn, we can disable our opponent's artifacts, as well as search up a Helm of Obedience from our sideboard or some other fun stuff that we'll get into later. And then, of course, you're familiar with Dark Depths and our Thespian Stage, which can make a 20/20, and then Vampire Hexmage, which is the only creature in the deck, is another added speed factor for that combo, as well as being a utility creature that can take care of our opponent's planeswalkers if he has to, or she rather. How about they, if they have to. And then we also have a Painter Grindstone down here. So these 4 cards down here are sort of the flex spots. So I'm just going to kind of go through them. And so we started up here. So this is the main Helm Leyline combo in this first row here. And then this second row right in here, these are Dark Rituals. These are Lion's Eye Diamonds. And this is Tendrils of Agony, which of course is a Storm card, which deals 2 damage and lets us drains 2 for 4 mana. So if we can get to 10 spells in a turn, then we can kill our opponent that way. So we have Infernal Tutors and Lion's Eye Diamonds, Lotus Petals, and Dark Rituals for fast mana. So we can get into situations often that allow us to essentially, with Ill-Gotten Gains, loop some fast mana and Infernal Tutor, searching for Ill-Gotten Gains, getting back, you know, for instance, 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds and an Infernal Tutor, and then repeating that process until we get to 10 spells, and then finish off with the Tendrils of Agony. And then we already went over the Dark Depths, and then just on the outside here we have 7 disruption spells to kind of hopefully pick away at the many free counter spells that our opponents are likely to have in their hands. And then down here, this is we have a Painter Grindstone, just an added combo, because you can never have enough combos. And then another Tutor, Wishclaw Talisman, as well as an Echo of Aeon. So you might be saying, hey, why is this blue card in this all black deck? Well, it's in here because we want to be able to reset our hand if we need to. So we can get blue mana from our Lion's Eye Diamonds, also sometimes from Thespian Stages, as well as our Lotus Petals. So if we're casting an Infernal Tutor off of a Lion's Eye Diamond, we can cast our Echo of Aeons. Or sometimes, you know, we are looking to kill our opponent by like turn 2 or turn 3. And if we can't do that, but we have a way to reset our hand, you know, sometimes our turn 1 will look like Thoughtseize, make sure they don't have a Force of Will, sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond, play a land, get that card back, and then go from there. Always better to give our opponent a blind 7 rather than a hand they have chosen to keep. Also, we have so many different combos in here that that's pretty much going to be an advantage for us most of the time. So here is our sideboard. We do have some wish targets for Karn, as well as sideboard options. Defense Grid, more defense against counterspells. Obviously a Helm of Obedience that we can grab to get a combo out of our sideboard. Ensnaring Bridge to stop some aggressive decks, hopefully for a few turns while we can finish off whatever combo we have started. Keep in mind that if you do go for this, you should not also be trying to win with your 2020. So Mycosynth Lattice, which just combos off with Karn by themselves, so if they don't already have a board advantage, definitely looking to go that route. And then we also have another copy of these guys in the sideboard, so we can side them in to double up in the main deck if we think that's going to be an advantage depending on who we're playing against. But also we can just search these out and combo off, and you'd be surprised at how many games I've won with this combo out of the sideboard. And then just a little utility artifact, Pithy Needle. You never know when you're going to need it. Always carry one around with you because, like I said, you just never know. And then, so that's our Wish package. Then we have just some Disruption and Inquisition if we're going against some creature decks. We want to try and hit one of their early threats, and just some added Disruption can also hit Force of Negation as well. And then some Opposition Agents is going to be really strong against your lands decks, as well as what's that dumb card? Come on. You know, you remove your entire library from the game. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Except for the 5 cards, you like reorder with the 5 cards. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. Fatal Push, and so that's our main disruption. Then we just have some creature kill. So if we're going against some go wide decks, a Toxic Deluge and a Plague Engineer, some spot removal with Fatal Push. And then we want to make sure that Death and Taxes is not going to take advantage of us. And then just a little Chains and Mephistopheles, just because you know, these two I think are sort of flex spots, as well as like the Fatal Push. So you can really do a bunch of different things in here, depending on, you know, what your meta is and what you're looking to do. So Hymn to Turax I think are also pretty good for the sideboard. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the land base. Okay, so here's our lands. We've just got, you know, a bunch of basic lands, so, you know, we're not super weak to wasteland strategies, which is nice. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 swamps. They are Lorewind swamps, I should mention, which is quite possibly the most beautiful swamp ever printed in Magic the Gathering. And then of course we have our combo. We have the Dark Depths and Thespian Stage. Depending on like what your build is, again, what your meta is, like 3 and 3 is also pretty good, but I do feel like the 2020 is losing a little bit of leverage in the formats with all the new super easy to kill 2020 spells that are being printed. And then we've got a couple of Ancient Tombs, and this is just, you know, we have a lot of 4-drops, so we want to kind of try and get to 4 mana as quick as possible. Really, we want to get to 5 mana if we're going to go off with a Helm. Then Lake of the Dead, also doing the same thing. And then we are still testing these Urza Sagas. Right now, they really only fetch our Grindstone, Lotus Petal, but the big one is Lion's Eye Diamond, because often we can go grab our Lion's Eye Diamond if we had a Infernal Tutor in our hand but couldn't empty our hand to go get it. And then to tie it all together, of course, Urborg, the All-Star. And that's it. That's the deck. And I do have a Discord that is that, you know, talks about this deck. It's not super active at the moment, but yeah, I've put up some pretty good results with this over the years, and a couple of top 16s and a Legacy 3Ks, and you know, yeah, just it's a really, really fun deck, and I love it with all my heart. And that's all I got.